In this lesson, we're going to solve equations. Okay, now we've been doing all the steps towards like solving equations, but now we actually need to solve equations. So we're going to solve it step by step by undoing operations. Okay, so it's really important to note this. So write this down. But what's the opposite of plus? Minus, and therefore the opposite of minus is plus. Okay, so I can do that as well. And what's the inverse or the opposite of times? Well, that will be divide. Now, one thing I want to make sure is that that also means fraction. So I'm going to put the fraction button from your calculator there. And then, yeah, the opposite of divide is times. So that's really important because those are the questions I'll be asking for us to solve these equations. All right. If you haven't written this down, pause it. Otherwise, we're going to continue. Okay, first of all, expression versus equation. One of these two is an expression. One of them is an equation. Which one do you pick? Think of this word, equation. All right. It's almost like it's got an equal there. All right, almost. So it's this one. An equation is one that has an equal sign. An expression is just an algebraic expression, which is this guy here. All right. So this one, let's write it down. Equation, because it has an equals sign. Algebraic expression. Okay. All right, let's go to solving expressions. Not expressions, equations, because they clearly all have equal signs. So I'm going to do something, all right? What I say is that you have to do 3 examples, okay? And these are the 3 examples you'll have to do, okay? 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to do, I don't know what happened there. Let's go, yeah. I'm going to do this ones, all right? And then that one should look like that one, okay? Like similar, all right? So just remember, the opposite of plus is minus, the opposite of minus is plus, the opposite of times is divide, and the opposite of divide is times, okay? All right, so I'm going to do mine, and then I want you to do yours, and then I'll obviously solve yours as well, okay? So this is what I'm going to be thinking, all right? I'm going to be thinking, I'm going to look where the x is. The x is here. So I'm going to block everything out with my finger, but I can't show you my finger. And I'm looking at there, and I'm going, what is stopping the x being by itself? Now, the answer is, it's plus 5. Okay, so that's what's stopping the x being by itself. So what I have to do is I have to minus 5. So I have to do the opposite of plus, hence this information here. So opposite of plus 5 is minus 5. So I'm going to cross that out. That's really good because all I have is the x by itself here, and that's what I want. But I can't just minus 5 to one side of the equal sign. I have to minus 5 from this side of the equal sign. So therefore, x, which is the only thing left here, is equal to 10 minus 5, which is 5. Okay? All right, I want you to pause the video and do that one for me. All right, I'm assuming you already paused it and you did it. I'm going to go through the same process. So I'm going to block this side out, okay? And I'm thinking, what is stopping the x being by itself? Well, it's clearly this minus 4. So the opposite of minus 4 is plus 4. So I'm going to go plus 4 on this side and plus 4 on this side. All right, so remember, what I do to one side, I must do exactly the same to the other side. And the good thing is I'm left with just an x, so that means I can just go x equals, and what's 10 plus 14? Plus 10 plus 4, it is actually 14, so therefore x equals 14. All right, I'm going to do the next one. Okay, so I'm going to do mine, and then I want you to do yours. First thing I want to ask is, what's in between the 2 and the x the mathematicians are too lazy to write? And the answer is times, okay? So that means 2 times, okay? So I need to undo the equation by doing the opposite of times 2. So what's the opposite of times 2? Well, it's divide by 2. So I'm going to divide by 2, and that's good because I can cancel that out. And I'm just left with the x, so that's really, really good. So what I have to do to this side, I have to go divide by 2, all right? Now I'm at the answer. Therefore, x equals 8 divided by 2, or half of 8 is 4. All right, go off and do your question, all right? I'm going to give you time to do it. All right, I'm assuming you've already paused it, and so I'm going to solve that question. So in between the 3 and the x is a times, so that means it's times 3. So what's the opposite of times 3? Divide by 3, so I'm going to divide by 3, and that's really good. That means I have to divide by 3, so I have to do exactly the same, always from one side to the other. I have to do exactly the same. I am left with just an x, which is really good, so therefore x equals 12 divided by 3, which is 4. Okay, now this is the last one that we're going to do for our example, and I just want to look at this. This is divide by 2, because remember, we said that divided by is the same as a fraction. So what is the opposite of divide by 2? Times 2. So times 2 gets rid of that number at the bottom, and just like always, we've got the x by itself at the top. But I can't just do things to one side. If I times by 2 on this side, I have to times by 2 on this side. So therefore, I've got x by itself, and what's 3 times 2? 6. All right, off you go, do yours. Okay, once again, I've assumed you've paused it and you've done it. Now I'm just going to quickly run through that. The opposite of divide by 3 is actually times 3, so I'm going to times both sides by 3. And that's really, really good because I've got the x by itself. So therefore, x equals 4 times 3 is 12. And we're really happy with that. I hope that helps. Just take your time, step by step. Just think, what's the opposite? Blah, blah, blah. Peace out.